Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. I am beginning the recording. This will be put on YouTube later today, so don't feel like you need to scramble to take notes. We'll send out a link to you guys if you want to share this with your friends. So we'll just kind of start with some preliminary info, and then we'll dive into the main presentation. I am Will Cooper. I am a SharePoint solutions developer. I build all kinds of different SharePoint solutions, and I've been focused on SharePoint for quite a while, almost 15 years. And I use these tools, Infowise Ultimate Forms, to build all kinds of different solutions. So anything and everything that has to do with SharePoint, I'm interested in it, I'm involved in it, and I've probably done something related to it. In that space, I do a lot of things. In addition to building SharePoint solutions, I have a YouTube channel called SharePoint Smart. If you haven't seen any of those videos, I hope you'll check it out and subscribe to my channel. I've got, I think, more than 300 videos on that channel with all kinds of different training and information on cool things that you can do in SharePoint. Additional to that, I have my own software that I run. It's called SharePoint Dashboards. That is a additional tool outside Infowise Ultimate Forms. I'll mention a little bit that towards the end of our presentation. About Infowise, we're about making things simple. Our toolkit is completely something you can use without doing any programming. There's no coding involved. It's very easy and intuitive to work with. And we're all the time improving our tools to make things easier and more beneficial to you. Ultimate Forms is a full solution toolkit available to add to your SharePoint environment. It's available whether you use SharePoint Online or you still use SharePoint on-premise. And these tools deploy completely inside of the SharePoint interface. You don't have to open up an external tool. If you have questions during the presentation today, you can use the chat. I seem to have an issue. I was trying to use the Q&A, but in any case, you can just use chat to post your questions. We'll handle it there. As I mentioned, our tools are available both for SharePoint Online and on-premise SharePoint. This is kind of how I think of out-of-the-box SharePoint. It's too limiting, and it's frustrating because you can't do all the things that you want to be able to do, and that's really the point of our tools. It adds in all those capabilities and allows you to do so much more inside of SharePoint. And in fact, you can build out complete solutions, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. We're going to be looking at a shift scheduling system. This is going to be available for you to download after our presentation. You can, if you don't already have it, install our trial software. And this is a solution template, exactly what I'm demonstrating. You can download it directly into your SharePoint environment, and everything you see in my presentation, you can try it for yourself. We're going to jump right to SharePoint. We're going to get right into it. There's lots of things that I want to share with you guys today. Here I am in SharePoint Online, and we're going to take a look at the shift scheduling system. Now, this needs to incorporate a lot of functionality in order for it to be viable for your business to set up a schedule for your workers. And so this is a calendaring system, and we want to make sure we can do things quickly and fluidly in terms of setting up schedules for workers. So the first thing you're going to do is use this list here for your employees. This is pretty self-explanatory. You just make a list of the workers in there. One thing I should note, this is set up to be able to accommodate for workers that are not SharePoint users. So if you want to, for example, enter names of people who don't ever log into SharePoint, that's going to work just fine. We want to accommodate for that situation. Some businesses, you may have line workers or things like that. They're never going to be in SharePoint. We want to be able to take advantage of the system even in that scenario. So this system will be able to send out the schedule to those workers through email. It can send a PDF to them or actually just send an inline email. Any of those situations will work. All right, so we're going to look at this from a user perspective first. We're going to take a look at what the interface looks like and the various features that are available. So the main list in the system, of course, is their shift schedule list. And we're going to kind of look at it from the top level first. This is focused on the week view shift schedule. And so this is going to be something that's going to be easy to understand in terms of the person creating the shift schedule, and also in terms of the output of this when you want to send out the actual schedule to your workers. Now, in the interface, this is set up to be able to make adjustments without even having to go into a form view. So if I click on this, I can do things like clear hours, or I can set hours easily just from a drop-down picker. So for example, if I want to do 8 a.m. to, let's say noon, I can just select from my drop-down picker, and then I can pick categories. Now, the system out of the box just has generic categories. I have this category 1, 2, 3. In your case, you do things like put in customer service, or, whatever, inspections. You can make up your own categories as it suits your business. So you can adjust that after you download the template. And then another thing that's nice, we want to be able to do things quickly. I don't have to manually pick those. And in many cases, the way the work schedule runs, people tend to have the same schedule from day to day. So we want to be able to copy. So just from this view, I can copy that out by just clicking these buttons. And you can see what we've got is a fast and fluid interface. Okay, so I can just hover over these boxes. I can go to my different workers, make those adjustments quickly. Notice also that it's totaling up the hours for the week. I don't have to do that myself. So I can see Vladi's got 18 hours for this week, May 11 to May 17th. And very easy to understand. Also, you're going to notice there's color coding. That is based on the categories. You'll be able to set that according to your own preferences. And that just makes it easier to see, before you drill down into it. Now that's from the list view. Additional to that, you can go to a form view, which is got more features to it. It's got more specific functionality. So this is the same information we saw in the list view. It's just another way to look at that. And similar kind of concepts. If I want to copy the hours from Friday to Saturday, I can just hit the copy button. It's going to update. It's going to also update the total hours. And I have all my summary information there. Additionally, I can use my status tracking to keep track of when I'm planning the schedule versus when I'm all done. I'm just going to mark this as scheduled. So I can keep track of the status of the work schedule in that way. So this is a form view with that same information for when I want to get kind of more drilled down into the specifics. All right. So on the dashboard, we can get to different views. As a worker, maybe I want to just see my own schedule. I don't want to see everybody else. We can go to a filter view, my schedule, and just see from week to week when I'm scheduled and have it more focused. So it's a more personalized view. So that's one option that's baked in there. Another thing would be looking at this from a month view calendar perspective. Maybe I want to just see a more high level overview, and I can go to a month view to see that. Now the color coding here is going to reflect the status of that. So if you recall, this one's set as scheduled. These are still in a draft mode for scheduling. And when I hover over these, I can see details in terms of the total hours and that type of thing. Now, like the other view, if I click on the record, it will actually open up that detail for that worker. So that's how I can jump to that. So kind of can get from the high level overview to the detail overview. I also have a category filter. So maybe I want to see the calendar of events that are in draft versus scheduled. I can filter, and that makes things a little bit less busy. I can focus in on what I'm doing. Another thing that may be useful is to drill down into the schedule through a filter setting on a page like this. I'll show you another option that's included in here. Okay, so here's the shift schedule again, and dynamically I can just click on an employee and it will filter just for the records I want to look at, or I can multi-select if I want to. So that's a dynamic filter using the employees list. So what you're seeing is there's a lot of versatility in terms of how you can update the schedule, display it, And then the next thing that I want to show you guys is the print output, which is very useful. So as a part of this, I of course am going to need to send out the schedule. As we had mentioned, it's going to be the case in many situations that you have people that you're planning a schedule for that don't ever log into SharePoint, but we still want to be able to distribute that information out to them very easily. And I can do that directly through the interface like this. I have this print view, so we can say print this week, and I can trigger to send that out to the workers. So if I go to print, I'll just click on this command. This is part of the solution template. I've got a print template dedicated to this. There, now you can see a preview of how that's going to look. And I've got different options. First of all, I can output this to PDF, or alternatively, I can send this as an email. So I could just put in the worker's email address. It doesn't have to be anyone in SharePoint. I could type in whatever I want. I can click add. I can click the button and send. It's going to email the template to them. If I just wanted to print out that schedule for myself, if I just click on the print button, I do of course have the option just to click on the PDF. This preview window is going to show me exactly what it's going to look like. And of course I can do this at any time. So there goes the PDF. It's shooting that out to my desktop right now. And this is the same thing that your workers would get in their email. So here's the work schedule. So now I've got a convenient mechanism to automatically distribute that out to workers whenever I want. Additional to that, of course, you want to be able to do that automatically. Maybe you know that you want to send out your schedule on a regular basis. Maybe you're going to send it out every Sunday night. That can be set on a automated system, and I'll show you how that works. So behind the scenes in the actions, I have a send weekly schedule. It is a timer-based action, and I have it set to go a day before the week starts. So the week starts are on Sundays, so it's just going to send that automatically without me having to do anything. And I also have the ability to set it to the specific time. So in there, it tells it to make use of that print template, and it tells it to deliver by email the shift schedule, and then I can put in the worker information, and it's just going to send that out automatically without me having to go through and manually do that. So that automation is for sure going to save a lot of time. And of course, the benefit to this is it's all done in SharePoint. So when we think in terms of shift scheduling, often it's done in another software completely outside of SharePoint. And of course, in SharePoint, we're doing a lot of planning related to our business. So we have timesheet systems, onboarding systems, performance management. We're doing all of these other employee-related systems and tools in SharePoint. But if we have a timesheet system that's completely outside of that, not connected to it, that creates a problem for us. We really would like to have all that data live together so that we can have integration and connectivity and keep all those in the same location. So that's another good benefit to doing this. So that kind of shows you from a user perspective what it's like to use this system. And hopefully you'll agree from what I showed, this is a very fluid interface. I can make adjustments to that schedule. I can copy events and do things very easily. Another thing that I can do is just auto-generate the schedule for each week very quickly from the employees list. As an example, if I want to send out or make a set of timesheets for all my active employees, I can come to this list, I can click on Run Actions, and I just click Make Weekly Schedule. And let's just say we're going to make the weekly schedule for the 18th. That's all that I have to do. When I hit Submit, it's going to make the timesheets for the 18th for all my workers checked off there. Not only that, it's going to do it very fast. It just runs its process. It gives me a little status update. Now they're all green and it's all done. And if I return back to the schedule, you're going to see that we have new entries for the timesheets for the new week. There they are, auto-generated. So the automation and batch creation and update of records is really critical. The ability to do things rapidly without having to, go into each individual day for each individual worker, that could be very tedious and take a long time. Everything about this system is geared towards making it very efficient for you. All of this is adjustable. As with any organization, there are going to be certain things that you may like to tweak and adjust. And you'll be able to do that first in the form through our form designer tool. And I'll show you how that's set up. So this is what it looks like building the tool. And as you saw, I have different buttons that make updates in there, but all of that's under my control. I can just come into the interface and I can adjust the look and feel. Maybe I want to make the look of the timesheet different. I could just come in here and I could do a different background color in the form, and just within a few clicks it just immediately changes, and what you see is what you get. So all of this is very adaptable and adjustable to you according to your preferences in your own organization. And then it's also doing the auto totaling for you. So that's a really key thing. It's getting you the total number of hours, which is essential because typically your workers have kind of a set number of hours they work each week, and you want that to happen automatically. So all that's happening in the form designer tool, and you can set this up and adjust it according to however you want it to work in your organization. Email notifications can be set up through our email alerts tool. That's very easy to work with. So instead of having to go through a whole bunch of steps in development and Power Automate, I can literally just define rules in here when I want to send my shift schedule, for example. I can say who that's going to, when I want it to go out, and then I just define the content of my email in this editor, and I can just do that through the visual content editor there. Very easy to work with. The print output, you just saw an example of how that can work, but you can adjust that however you like. You may want to adjust the display to look a little bit differently in your case. That can all be done just through the print settings. So that is a very nice benefit as well. And then the monthly calendar, that's set up through our event calendars configuration. We saw the month calendar. If you wanted to adjust that in terms of the fields that you see, for example, when you roll over events, I can make it show anything I want. There are a lot of fields in this list, but you can see all the information that's available. I can just keep adding to this. It'll show up in the hover box. All of that's configurable on your side. In terms of accessing these tools and trying out what I'm showing in the demo, it's very easy to do that. If you go to the InfowiseSolutions.com site, the thing to do will be click Try Now for free, and you can install our trial software, which is our full software. It'll run for 30 days, and you can evaluate this for yourself. Once you install the trial, you'll be able to download the solution that I'm showing in this video. And the other thing that you could do is talk to us. Maybe you want a little bit of help, or maybe you have some questions about the situation in your business. You see some things here that really fit with what you want to do, but maybe you want to make sure there's some additional requirements that are going to be met, or you want to know how you can accomplish that. And we're happy to talk to you about that. Be sure to contact us. You can just sign up for a demo. If you click book a demo and you just give us your contact information, we'll set up a meeting with you. We'll talk with you one-on-one, talk it through, help you figure out how everything works. The pricing software is up on our site on the pricing page. It's easy to understand. It's just based on the number of users. Then additional to that, we provide resources to help you learn how to use our tools. That includes tutorials with step-by-step examples. The first one that I recommend is going through our Kickstart training. This is step-by-step instructions on how to build your first forms if you want to learn how that works. Another thing you might check out are other example solutions. So closely related to this are timesheets. And we also have an example of a timesheet solution in here. So if you scroll through our webinar examples, you can see another additional template for a timesheet solution, which you also can download into your environment. So I hope you'll check that out. If you look on the December 2024 weekly timesheet solution, that would be something that would fit very well with what I'm providing. All right, so let me pause for a second. I want to give you guys the chance to ask questions. What questions or comments might you have about shift scheduling in terms of how you'd like to use it in your organization, or how the solution that I'm demonstrating works? And you can just enter those into the chat in our meeting. All right, I see some questions in the chat. There's a question about with external or people scheduling for themselves. This tool is really designed to be used by a manager to plan the schedule, because otherwise we get into some challenges with access to information and people being able to do more than we would intend. So you would need a SharePoint login to access this system. So in terms of planning the schedule with your workers and things like that, that would need to be something where you think about a different process. But this is really geared towards the person planning the schedule. There's a question, can you plan an on-call schedule? You can plan any kind of schedule you want, and it's up to you to define the categories. So in mine, I have a category selection, so you could even potentially make like an on-call category. So to do that, it's really easy. You can just go to the list settings, and there's literally a category. There's category fields, and you can just update that. So right now, I just have it with generic names, category 1, 2, and 3, and off. You can update this to include whatever categories are going to match up with what you're doing. So that might be a way you could handle for an on-call schedule. There's a question about using a generic login. Definitely you don't want to use a shared login with SharePoint. You could, there's different types of accounts you can create. Some of them have a very nominal cost. So that's really something you just want to work with your SharePoint administrator. But if they're going to access the tool, they are going to need a login to SharePoint. Good questions. I thank you guys for those. So this is all available by download from our Infowise website. Another thing I should mention to you is that we do have training available if you want some help learning how to build forms and have someone help you on a instructor-led session. We have that option available in addition to getting our software. So you could take a look at that, the instructor-led training. All right, I've got a question from Todd. Shift schedule information be automatically pulled from employees' Outlook calendar? No, this is a standalone solution. It's specifically to work in SharePoint alone. So I understand that the Outlook calendar is going to be something that a lot of people like to use, but this is really for workers that typically maybe are not in Outlook. Again, this is kind of a situation where maybe you have, like warehouse workers, factory workers. People are not going into SharePoint and you want to schedule them out. But in any case, these calendar events are going to be just in the SharePoint list, not Outlook. Good question, fair question, but this is not an Outlook compatible type of a solution. How many users can you do at the same time? It's unlimited. I'm showing a few workers in here, but if you remember on this employees list, you could have as many as you want. I really mean that. This could have 100 workers on it, and it's just SharePoint list records. So it is fully expandable to however many workers you need to plan for. Now in that kind of situation, what you're going to want to do is create some filter views by team. So what you want to do is make new views, and then you're going to filter it down so that you show just certain workers based on the team that they're on. So that way it doesn't become overwhelming. But absolutely the system will work for hundreds of workers at a time. The solution works based on SharePoint lists, does not have anything to do with Microsoft Teams. It's completely built off of SharePoint lists and the Ultimate Forms components, as well as the template coming from SharePoint Dashboards. So nothing related to Microsoft Teams is baked in here. Good question. Okay, let me mention SharePoint Dashboards a little bit. So this is an additional tool in addition to Infowise Ultimate Forms. This is a dashboard template system, and It allows you to apply templates onto your SharePoint lists. There are, as of now, 235 different templates in the site. It allows you to have progress indicators, buttons, charting, different ways to visualize your data in SharePoint. There's quite a lot of options. The one that we're seeing in our demonstration today is, of course, Shift Schedule template. This is a paid subscription for the software in order to access all of these templates. And in this template, you can make different configuration options to control the look and feel of that schedule grid. So maybe that you want to adjust the font size, the background colors, the borders, any of those types of things you can adjust. You may want to make the grid width different. All those things are adjustable in this template. That is what's being used in this Ultimate Forms template. You do have access to what comes with Ultimate Forms template just by downloading this and getting the Ultimate Forms software. But if you're interested in some more formatting template options, that's something you might take a look at. SharePoint Dashboards you can try out by signing up for a Lite account. That does give you access to 21 free templates. All you have to do is provide your name and email. You'll get a login and you can start using the tool right away. In fact, one of the free templates is the template I use more often than any other template, which is just a simple edit button, which is not available in modern SharePoint lists. So that's a perfect example of something you could start out with, and that's free, along with 20 other templates to try out. So that's something you could look at in addition to this template in Infowise Ultimate Forms. These tools work great together. Good questions. What other things are on your mind? What else can I answer for you today? I will show you how you're able to access the template. Once you have the trial software installed, you will be able to go into our main settings screen and you can access the solution catalog. You can see there are a lot of templates in the solution catalog. What you'll do is go and click on the Infowise Webinars tab. And you can see examples of all kinds of templates in here, and you're welcome to try any of those. Our Shift Schedule template is going to appear as the first tile in here when you go to look at this later today. And you can download and use exactly what I showed in this demonstration. So pretty easy to do. I just want to make sure you guys know how to download this template that I'm showing. All right, what other questions do you guys have? All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording, but I will keep the session open.